Okay. I always wipe my face too. I don't know why. I don't know if it's a thing. It's a thing. I always wonder if I have boogers or things hanging out of my teeth. Hanging out of my teeth? Hanging out of my... Anyways. Hi, my name is Father Mike Schmitz, and this is Ascension Presents. So, it's the summertime, and we just got done up here in Duluth with an incredible summer. And one of the things that we do is we always get together with a bunch of college students. Last night, we asked a bunch of college students the question, what was your kindergarten ambition? Like, what did you want to be in kindergarten? Surprisingly, there were a number of paleontologists, people who had apparently watched a lot of the Jurassic Park movies, and in kindergarten, they wanted to be a paleontologist, even though, I imagine that being an actual paleontologist is a little more boring than being someone who's a curator of Jurassic Park or Jurassic World. Some people wanted to be sports people, singers, dancers. My kindergarten ambition, I wanted to be Batman or Superman. I would even settle for Robin. That's the kind of guy I am. Because I was thinking about this, like there's something about the heroes, and I've talked about this before, but there's something about the heroes that just resonates with me. And I was thinking, what hero most closely resembles the life of the Christian? I was going through even my favorite ones and kind of going through the list and saying, actually, different heroes have different elements to them, and they're good and they're bad, whatever. But there's kind of a way we can look at being a Christian, being called to be a disciple of Jesus Christ, as kind of that heroic life. So which one is most accurately Christian? What hero is most accurately reflected in the Christian life? So here's my number two guys. Here's Batman. Well, here's a human being who, through sheer force of his will, he's just a normal human being, but through the sheer force of his will, he's able to lift himself up and be amongst the greats. He's there on the Justice League with Superman and with Wonder Woman and with Green Lantern and with the Flash and with Martian Manhunter, all these incredible heroes. He just did it on his own. And I realized, okay, I want to do that. Well, that's this heresy called Pelagianism. Pelagius was a guy back in the day, and he just simply thought all it took to follow Jesus. Jesus was simply a great moral teacher. And what he did was he showed you the way. He didn't give you grace. He just showed you the way. So on your own, you can live just like him. And that's a heresy. So Batman's out. Then I thought, well, what about my other guy, Superman? And the reality of, even Fulton Sheen at 50 years ago, he said, Superman is kind of a lot like Jesus. He's the son. He gets sent to the earth, and he kind of redeems us. That's not bad. But at the same time, we think, okay, if that's who we are, that's a lot like kind of some of the modernist or humanist views of humanity, which is like a Jean-Jacques Rousseau or a Friedrich Nietzsche that says, there's nothing essentially wrong with you. You have all of the power in you already. You're not fallen. You're just good. You're just good. You're not fallen. That's kind of Superman. You have all the powers. You are not in need of anything. And that's a heresy too. Because we realize that even though we are made for greatness, even though you have an incredible dignity and you're made in God's image and likeness, we are also fallen. So we're not Superman either. So it's got to be something else. Okay, we have a good humanity that's broken. So something has to happen to us to change us. Well, here's my next guy, Iron Man. Here's Tony Stark. In the Avengers movie where he and Captain America get into this little, tussle with each other, and Captain America, Steve Rogers, says to Iron Man, to Tony Stark, he says, take away the suit, what are you? And he says, billionaire, philanthropist, playboy, genius, super genius, whatever. The reality is, without the suit, Tony Stark's good. He's got goodness, billionaire, genius, philanthropist. He's also broken, because Tony Stark is a wounded character. But what makes him a superhero is when he puts on this suit outside of himself. No, that's not bad. It's almost like we'd say like being clothed with Christ, being clothed with power from on high. That's not bad, but at the same time, that's not the Catholic view of what grace does for us. Because that's actually more of a certain kind of Protestant view of what grace does. It's a covering over. It doesn't change Tony Stark substantially. When he wears it, he can do great things. And that's grace. That's wonderful. But it doesn't change him as a human being. So something deeper needs to happen. So what about this? What about Captain Marvel? Now, you might not know who Captain Marvel is. He's also known as Shazam. His story is this. Billy Batson, just a kid, this wizard comes to him and says, if you say the words Shazam, you have the strength of Hercules, you have the speed of Mercury, you have the wisdom of Solomon, all these kinds of things. Maybe that's what the Christian life is, because he's changed. He's a good kid, does his thing. But then this power from outside comes inside and changes him substantially. That's pretty close, but here's the problem with that. is what he does, what Billy Batson does, is he says the word Shazam. It turns into Shazam. He has this incredible power, this incredible grace, incredible strength. I don't know about grace, but strength. But if he wants to not live like that, he just says Shazam again, and he goes back to being Billy Batson. Not a hero, not super strong, not powerful. Now, this is how I think a lot of Christians prefer to live our Christian discipleship. Like we'll say the word, Jesus, come into my heart. We'll call upon the Holy Spirit when we really want him, but then when we don't really want to follow Christ, we just kind of say, God, go back on the shelf. We take on and put off our Christianity like some people put on a hat and take it off, like Shazam. But what's more consistent? What's most consistent? I think the ultimate example of a superhero that aligns with who we are as Christians is Steve Rogers. Now, let's go back to the story, Captain America. Here's the young Steve Rogers. And what is he? He's a good young man. He is brave. He has a nobility. He wants to fight for the underdog, but he's good, but he can't. He tries to fight and he gets beat up. He tries to defend people and he gets knocked down. He tries to join the army and he's not even strong enough to do that. So again, he's not Superman and he's not Batman. What happens though? Well, they give him the super soldier serum. And what it does is it doesn't come in from outside and just make him strong on the outside. What it does is it takes everything that he is and amplifies it. In fact, this is Catholic theology. We believe that what grace does is grace builds on nature and perfects it. We believe that grace builds on our nature, elevates it, and perfects it. That's why when they're having that little debate or that little argument between Tony Stark, Iron Man, and Steve Rogers, Captain America, he says, take off the suit, what are you? Tony Stark looks at Steve Rogers and says, everything special about you came out of a bottle. At first, when I was watching that, I was like, oh, that's a mean thing to say. But then I'm like, no, it's actually kind of true. He was good in and of himself, but fallen, not strong enough to do this. But that external thing came internal and transformed him substantially from the inside out. And this is exactly what happened to you when you were baptized. You were good, but fallen. You were made good, but you didn't have the strength to live good. So what happened? God came and dwells inside of you now. He built on your nature. He elevated it and perfects it. So that, if you're talking to Mother Teresa and you're saying to Mother Teresa, seriously, everything special about you came from God's grace. She would look at you and say, yeah, hello, because if you've been baptized, you've been transformed substantially from the inside out. What the guy says in the movie Captain America, it makes a good man great. It takes what you are in your essence as a human being made in God's image and likeness and amplifies it. You're made into a son or daughter of God, temple of the Holy Spirit, disciple of Jesus Christ, someone put on this planet to live, not like Shazam, but to consistently live every single day as that integrated human being. I think it's really remarkable too. All these other heroes, not saints, they have alter egos. Billy Batson, Captain Marvel, Shazam. Bruce Wayne, Batman. Clark Kent, Superman. Steve Rogers, Captain Steve Rogers, is Captain America all the time. He's always Captain Steve Rogers. He doesn't take it on, take it off. And this is what we're called to do as well as Christians. You realize God's grace, His presence, His very life, He lives inside of you right now. He takes all of your good qualities and amplifies them, and He takes all of our wounds, and He wants to heal them, or use them at least. You have been made into a son or daughter of God. May we have the grace and cooperate with that grace to live every single moment of every single day worthy of that name, son or daughter of God. From all of us here at Ascension Presents, my name is Father Mike. God bless. If any of these videos have ever helped you in any way, shape, or form, share it on your devices and things like this. Tweet it out there and share it on Facebook and whatever the new social media platform is going to be. If this was short enough, you could share it on Instagram. It's not, but could. Like, subscribe. Subscribe!